The Super Mario Galaxy movie is finally out, so today I will be giving all of my thoughts about the movie. This review does contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it and then come back here afterwards. I should also point out that I have played some of the games made by Nintendo, but I also haven't played a lot of the games made by Nintendo, the latter of which includes both Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2. So I went into this movie not entirely knowing what to expect from it. Alright, getting right into the review, the first thing I really noticed about this movie as a whole in general is that it simultaneously has too much going on and too little going on. This movie is only an hour and a half long, and a decent bit of the runtime is filled by things that have been put in to extend the film's length. With almost all of these things, they're a little side plot that usually includes some sort of reference to something, but the second the writers have decided they've used it enough to extend the length, they move on to continuing the main plot instantly. This happens at least 5 times in the movie, and all of them leave behind this weird feeling of being rushed for no reason, hurting the movie's quality overall. But taking a little from that and going into a more positive note, this movie references so many things from other Nintendo games, including Mario and non-Mario games. It even goes as far as Fox McCloud from Star Fox just being in a decent chunk of the movie, but I'll get more into that later. I really like the fact that they put in a lot of references into other things. It made everything so cool. On that note, one thing about this movie's inclusion of all these references and side plots and many other things is that it does make the film feel really full and inspired. Like, you can tell the people who made this movie were good picks for this because they absolutely knew what they were doing. There were many great ideas executed in this film, and it was really cool to see this connected universe of so many different things to be shown here. Okay, getting into the overall plot of the film, I definitely liked it. That being said, there was definitely a decent number of things I liked more, but I've basically already talked about those. Bowser Jr., the villain of this film, felt like a really basic villain with a kind of underwhelming plot, which I can only assume was done because it's the main plot of at least one of the Super Mario Galaxy games. And also, this is a kids movie, and from what I've seen, usually villains in kids movies aren't really that fleshed out. One thing about the main plot too is that I do wish that Bowser had stayed allegiant to Mario and Luigi, and I did feel like they were hinting at him betraying his son to save them, but that moment never ended up happening, and I do think the movie was worse for it. I do think that despite this being a kids movie, it had some good jokes, like Rob taking forever to speak, or the Lumas wanting to see Peach's castle just for it to be destroyed, or just the entire sequence with Yoshi in New York. Speaking of the Lumas, I really liked them, and I thought they were really cute. I thought the reveal of Peach's and also Rosalina's origins of basically being goddesses born from Stardust to be really unexpected, but also really cool. I genuinely thought that it was going to turn out that they came from Earth, although I guess that wouldn't explain Rosalina's magic. Fox McCloud being in this movie was such an unexpected addition. I mean, I did know he was going to be in it because Nintendo decided to announce it beforehand, which was a dumb decision by them. Anyway, I really liked him in this film, and I thought he was a great addition. On a related note, I do think that Nintendo is absolutely hinting at a Super Smash Bros. Film. Not only is Fox McCloud from a different universe confirming the existence of a multiverse here and opening the door for a potential crossover with the upcoming live-action Legend of Zelda film, but also when Mario and Fox McCloud meet, there's this look between them like they're about to spontaneously fight each other for basically no reason, which is pretty much what happens in the Smash Bros. Games. I genuinely really hope that a Smash Bros. Film gets made because it would be such a cool crossover and a really interesting film, especially with the potential combination of animation and live action. Overall, despite its flaws, I thought this was a pretty good and fun film, with it having a lot of whimsy and being a decent bit silly. I really enjoyed it, and I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. And with that concludes my review of the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Please consider subscribing to the channel and let me know what you thought of the Super Mario Galaxy movie down in the comments. Thanks for watching, everyone!